Hi, everyone. This is the next in our series of Compressed Air Challenge interviews of the superstars of compressed air. I'm Ron Marshall, and I'm the training coordinator and marketing coordinator of the Compressed Air Challenge. We're recording this series of interviews to give people a glimpse of the steps required to become successful in the compressed air industry. Today I have Hank Van Ormer, one of the original founders of the Compressed Air Challenge material and a Compressed Air Challenge superstar. Hank, could you tell everybody about yourself, your history in the industry? What do you do right now?
Well, I didn't start out to get in the compressed air business. I just started out to get through college and get a degree and get a job.
Yeah.
And I do it like a lot of people. In those days, you saved up for money that you earned and all the jobs you worked allowed you to figure out what you didn't want to do, like dishwashing, moving furniture the rest of your life, and got you a good experience in working. One of the places between my sophomore and junior year in college, I worked in summers at a test lab for an air compressor company in Ohio, where my father was stationed in Ohio, putting in the Nike Zeus air defense around Cleveland. And that was a very great experience. I mean, I learned a lot. We were testing all kinds of machinery, and I was doing a lot. I did most of the math because we didn't have calculators in those days, but I could run a slide rule, and nobody else did. So it went pretty good. And when I got out of college, they offered me a job at a relatively low, about $1,000 a month less than an average college student would make getting out with a degree. And I took it. And I will tell you, it's the best investment I ever made. They gave me a two and a half to 3 year on-hands training program. I worked on every department. I learned to weld. I worked in service. I worked in parts. I worked in international sales, national sales. I was trained. It was great training. And I wanted that. And the reason I point this out is it's kind of what was my foundation for this. And I never thought of not working in the air industry after that, because that was quite an investment when you consider that I went into school broke and I came out of school broke, but it was okay. So anyway, so that going on, I worked for several manufacturers, several distributors. Every one of them recruited me. I work in somewhere, I'm doing a job. I didn't have to go look for a job. Somebody recruited me. I left each job with a positive reason and wishing each other good luck. And every job I ever had in the compressor industry, I had great mentors that would help me. And I found that if you will talk to them and ask them questions and listen, you will learn a lot. And you can learn more just by kind of looking around and learning the outside, what the other things are going on. Like if you want to talk about air compressor in a plant, what are they doing with the air in the plant? You're there, ask questions. Little by little, you will become very knowledgeable in air systems. In my working days with many major compressor manufacturers, I met many people that knew the compressor inside out, but after that, they knew nothing. Well, the world of this business world that we're in says, know everything that goes on. What are you doing with the air? And that's what we in 1986. I decided my future was not in big industry, but it was so I started a consulting company. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to consult in, but it was in compressed air. And we did lots of different things, set up distribution for people, help contract negotiations, policies, but primarily we got into energy management, energy savings, and compressed air consulting, all of which led to when the CAC came out, we were there as a source for them, and we met all the DOE people and went to the meetings, and we have evolved now with 35 years in business as a compressed air consulting company that pretty successful, still in business, and I no longer own it. My general manager bought it, but I am the technical director for it still.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of fun and do very well.
Very good. It's important to have fun in the industry, and yeah, that's very good advice. Thanks. So you talked about it a bit. For those people who are looking at becoming compressed air experts, where would you suggest getting the knowledge other than what you've said already? Where would you go to get better knowledge?
Well, there is not really a course in normal schools on pneumatics. I mean, it's very lightly covered in various things. So the best training is either what CAC is excellent training, but you don't learn it all in 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 years. So you got to keep looking for other sources. Now, trade journals carry articles. I mean, Ron's written you've written a lot of articles. I've written lots of articles for years and years and years. That's one of the ways I learn, by the way. I get a topic, I research it. When I can write it in an article, I feel very comfortable that I know it.
Very good. Yeah, you're telling our secrets.
Yes, it works.
Very good.
It definitely works. And that's my style. And then from that point, these articles build up and they help you. Of course, they help your visibility because you're a consultant. But it's also how you learn. You learn like I just did a couple of big articles in magazine on vacuum, and I never did a lot of vacuum. I mean, it's nothing but an air compressor going the other direction. And but I had to do some research, and this was a couple of years ago. I did a lot of research on it, put together a pretty big thing on industrial vacuums. Not trying to get into the really high vacuums, but the standard industrial vacuums, which is basically are mostly standard industrial compressors or blowers, or some other type of PD machine. So my point is, it's a way of doing it. It's the way I do it. Doesn't mean it's what somebody else wants to do, but you have to push the envelope, or the learning curve is pretty long.
Yes, very good. Very good.
My definition of an expert is when you walk in the room, you feel truly that you know more than anybody else in that room on this topic, or whatever that topic is.
Very good. Yeah. So what advice would you have for, like, what would be the first steps for people who want to do what you did, become an expert consultant and start their own business? What advice would you have?
Well, you're going to have to build. You're not going to be able to start a consultant business unless you go to work for somebody like a company that's a consultant company, and they have a training program. But one of the first questions you make sure: do you have a training program? How do I get it? Do you have outside sourcing, or work for a manufacturer? They have great training on their products. And you know what? There's lots of products in a system. It's the compressors, the dryers, the filters, the drains, the piping, and it's all has to come together in the system. So, and I would suggest that you can start in any of those suppliers and take advantage of the CAC. Those, when you go from up to Airmaster, there isn't one above Airmaster, is there yet now, Ron?
Not yet, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you go up to Airmaster, very frankly, you're pretty knowledgeable.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Now, you're part of the group that put together the Compressed Air Challenge training material, and just thinking back about all the points that the CAC talks about in their training material, what do you feel the most important points are in those training materials? Maybe your top 2 or 3.
Well, I'll tell you what. The single biggest problem that we see in every plant is piping and storage mistakes. Piping that stops storage from working correctly, or the wrong or poorly located storage, or poorly sized. And prior to CAC getting good information out, there was a lot of misinformation particularly on storage. That to me is the single biggest. We don't do an audit still today, and I can't tell you how many pages and pages and pages and pages of writings are on this. And we have a whole book on it.
Yes.
And we still find it. It's like, and the guy, let's say the plant goes out, gets a plumber, he puts it in. He says, I've done it all my life. I do it the way I always do it. And chances are pretty good it's probably wrong. So that to me is the number one thing. Yes. Now, you got to know how the compressors work. You got to know, mainly you got to know how the controls work on the compressors. And one of the limitations to make your storage and your piping right.
Yes.
And from that point on, we got it out of the compressor room. Now we're going to the plant, same stuff. But I would say piping and storage is the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. We cover storage definitely in the advanced training. And right. Definitely we talk a lot about compressor controls, even centrifugals in the training. So very good points. Thanks very much for your answers, Hank. And there it is, folks. Please join us for our next interview coming up next month. If you're interested in taking our great training, Hank has mentioned it already. Check out our calendar at compressedairchallenge.org/calendar, and I hope to see you there. Thanks very much.